Okay, and now to my last speaker for this afternoon, Dr. Pepper Lim. Tell us how and why you ventured into writing storybooks. Dear Paprika blogs in Pepper's World. Anybody ever tried that? Pepper's World? And Paprika is his daughter. So he's writing a lot of stories for the daughter. And he has even come up with a comic book called The Modern Nyonya. Maybe you'll find Auntie Lily there. Okay, Pepper. AI. Okay, now we are going AI. Is a force to reckon with. What's the future of storytelling with AI? Has ChatGPT been helpful? You actually won 2 awards for writing short stories at the recent Singapore Peranakan Literary Competition. Would you consider expanding them into full-length books? Pepper? No, not good enough yet. Okay, let's hear from Pepper now.
Right, switch.
Yeah.
You don't mind if I sit over here?
No, you can sit there.
Oh. Hi. There are 2 reasons why I started writing. The first one is because I come from good stock. My family are all overachievers. My grandfather was Dr. Mahathir's teacher. His name is mentioned, Mr. Lim Chen Chai, is mentioned twice in Dr. Mahathir's book, A Doctor in the House. And then the second reason is because my uncle, who is a prolific writer, he's got, I've lost count, but I think he's written something close to 60 books, and his books sell for hundreds of ringgit each. I don't know how he does it. He will tell me, I got an idea, and 2 months later he says, hey, look through my draft. How? And then he called me to his office and he said, you should write as well. I said, no lah, I don't write. I did very badly. I don't like writing in school. I did not enjoy it. But he showed me something. He showed me his income for the year for books. I thought, okay, maybe I should write. This was quite a lot. I don't know how he's doing it. So he said, why don't you write something about your mother? And this is the first book I wrote. It's called The Secret of How My Mother Became a Millionaire. And my mother was only a school teacher. From the day she left high school, she went straight into teachers training college, and she was a teacher ever since until the day she retired. But one day she got very sick, and while everybody else got better, she did not. And after the 3rd week, she thought she was going to die. And she called me and my brother and I up, and she said, you better come, I've written my will. So my brother and I trotted over to her house, and she laid there on one piece of paper. She said, this is what I'm dividing for my 2 sons. My brother's name is Ginger Lin, by the way.
All the spices.
All the spices. My daughter is Paprika, and my son is Saffron Lim. So I carried on the tradition. Yeah. So I was looking through, her property, I don't know what. Halfway through, I calculated. I said, this is more than $1 million. I told me, you're a millionaire. And she said, now only you know. Tell me more. So my uncle said, hey, why don't you write a book about that? That might be interesting. And this is the first book I wrote. How difficult is it to write this book? Well, when I finished this book, I thought I completed the book, and I formatted the whole thing on my computer. And then I looked at the last page number. It's page 97. I call it the goddamn page 97. I had done all I could, and I only got 97 pages. So I went to my uncle and said, no, writing is not for me, as you can see. He said, no, don't give up. If you finish it, I'll get it published for you. So I thought, okay. And he gave me a few ideas, and I went back and I completed the book. So this is the book that I hold in my hand. This is the first book. And then the second book, I thought, no more writing about real people and real stories, because every story I had to double check its authenticity. So I thought this time I'll write a fictional story, and this is called The Troublesome Prince Lucky. It's about a young prince from China who runs away, and he has adventures by stopping in Vietnam, in Indonesia. In Indonesia, he battles with a Garuda. He comes over to Malaysia, and he has to battle the princess of Gunung Ledang. And all the while he's being chased by Admiral Cheng Ho, who his father has sent to retrieve his only son. So I thought this is easier. I can make up the stories as I go along, until I got to page goddamn 97 again. And I thought, there's no way. I thought, am I so bad at this? Maybe I don't come from this family of overachievers. So my uncle said, no, why don't you write about this and that? And I included it in, and then he said, hey, okay 120, 130 something. He said, it's okay for children's book, it's okay you don't have to go to 160. And this was book number 2. So it's not easy. Both books took me 2 years to write. So now I'd like to see a show of hands of people in the audience who are thinking or have written or about to write a book. Hands up please. Be brave. Yeah, okay, yeah. Give yourself a clap. I tell you it's not easy, and I want to warn you. Look up at goddamn page 97, man. Alright, oh man. Okay, then I'd like to tell you about my latest book. This is called A Modern Nyonya. And the heroine in this book is my mother. And it's even named, the character, the girl, is named after my mother, Girlie. Now, the first book is named after my mother. The last book that I wrote, I've got 2 more books, I think, waiting to be published. This one is also in honor of my mother, so you can tell her who's the favorite in the family,
97 pages.
Again, I thought that was already funny. Anyway, I won't give too much away. The last story in this book is a fictional story, and in that, my dear auntie has to play the villain. Yeah, so the character is named after my dear auntie. I actually asked her for permission, and when she read it, she was like, okay lah. Very reluctantly said, okay lah, you can use my name, But the first joke in this comic book comes from Dr. Lee Sukim. You please? Yes, the first joke is your joke. Yes. And I go, okay, so here is, so I'm sure you're wondering, why am I, a man, writing books on the Nyonyas? I assure you I'm not gay. But I do find the Nyonyas more interesting than the Babas. So every time I go to the Babas for stories, they got no stories. The jokes the Baba told me were all dirty jokes. But the Nyonyas had very interesting jokes like Dr. Lee Sukimson. So in honor of her, the first joke is her joke in this book. Okay? So these are, I brought only 3 books, but there are other books in the bookshop. They are still on sale. And I wish you all the best if you're thinking of writing. If you're even thinking of writing, you know what you should do? You should write. This is what writers do. There's something inside writers that is just trying to get out. And if you don't put words to paper, pen to paper, or words to your computer, you will probably be depressed. You know you're a writer if you're constantly thinking of how to string words together, how to make beautiful sentences, and how to be descriptive with this, place, or this person, or this scene. If you have that kind of thought, you are probably a writer. So please don't suppress that writing urge. Even if it's a short story, even if it's 3 paragraphs, it's better to get it out than for you to scold people because you're so frustrated that it's not coming out, Yeah, it's better to write. Okay, on to the second question. What is the future of AI? I think AI is rubbish. You don't need to be afraid of AI. I know because I edited an English language magazine for more than 15 years, I can tell when writers are not writers, and when people are trying to earn money through writing and they submit this thing. Even if something simple, like what to see in Berlin. You can just Google up the places and write something about the places that are of interest in Berlin. And yet, when they submit it, I know it's all rubbish. This person is not a writer. Now, AI is wonderful, I know. To a non-writer, AI is wonderful. To a writer, AI is rubbish. AI now, I don't know what the future will hold, but I think AI will probably get better. But right now, if you read what AI is submitting to you, I know you guys know how to use ChatGPT and Perplexity and Gemini, and you tell them, write a story about this and this and this. And if you read the story, you will not be surprised to see AI repeating the same scene again somewhere else. Yeah, and AI will do the most nonsensical thing that characters would not do, but AI will make that character do those things. Like, especially when it comes to our culture is like such a secretive kind of thing. That's why when we write books, people buy, because nobody else knows our culture except us, not AI even. So when I ask AI to write about Baba and Nyonyas, it will eventually become some other culture's story, like especially a Chinese story. And I know, that's how I know that AI will not do a good job. But when I'm stuck, I do use AI. For instance, the two short stories that won, I was actually surprised because I don't like doing stories. Do you remember this book? Do you remember how much trouble I had with this book? So I told myself, I don't want to do fiction. But I have no choice because it's a short story competition. So I submitted one. Again, the protagonist was a girl. I tell you, I swear I'm not gay. That one won second prize. And then I thought, I think the story is quite interesting, and I wanted to tell the story from her father's point of view because it was a very, how would you describe the story? Not depressing, but it's about a girl who wants to be educated, but the father is very old, is traditionalist, and she wants her to be married off. So then I thought, you know what, I'm going to tell the story from the father's point of view, and that's where I submitted the second story, and to my surprise, both stories won an award. So remember, I don't write Baba's stories, right? So I've got no idea what Babas do. But I do know that they go to the Penang swimming club to enjoy themselves. Now I've actually been in that bar, but I've forgotten what it's like because I went when I was a child. But I do remember a very old-fashioned and 1960s, 1970s kind of decor. So I asked AI to describe that and it did. It could describe the furniture, the wooden panels on the wall. And I thought, oh, this is very good. Instead of me googling it, but remember, this is fiction. So you don't know whether it's true. I don't know whether it's true, but because it's fiction, artistic license. So I use that description in my story. And I think AI would be good for this. But apart from that, I don't think that you should be afraid. I don't think that you should think, well, AI can just churn out stories just like that, and it can, but it's not your story. Your story is the one that's important. Your story is the one that we want to hear. Not AI's story. AI doesn't tell stories. AI tells rubbish stories like at the current moment. Yeah, I would not be surprised if AI describes the Baba as taking off his sarong and then turning into a giant robot. Because this AI doesn't know the Peranakan culture, But I know you guys know. I know you guys have lots of stories. So if I can part with this, if you're thinking of a story to tell it. Thank you.
Thank you, Pepper. Now you know. If you have a story, that's Pepper for you. So to conclude this afternoon's sharing, I'd like to just sum it up. Telling stories actually benefit communication by improving empathy, social skills, and connection, while also stimulating creativity, imagination, and cognitive development. Stories are memorable. It's a way of teaching moral values, convey knowledge, and provide a tool for healing, relaxation, and understanding different cultures and life experiences. In short, just keep telling those Nyonya Baba stories. Otherwise, how would you know Dr. Lee was a Nyonya in Texas? How Pepper's mother became a millionaire? Or be reminded by Judy of all those wonderful forgotten Peranakan recipes of our childhood. Hopefully, my Peranakan book will be published soon. Akan datang, Telling our stories actually helps to promote our culture. Documentation preserves history. So be curious, ask questions to hear more Nyonya Baba stories to help you sieve through misinformation and pseudo-history. Be aware of culture misappropriation by influencers who reinvent, reimagine, and make up false narrative about the Nonyas and the Babas. My thanks to the panel and all of you here this afternoon. Kamsia.